She thought she was just helping the struggling new janitor figure out a vacuum cleaner, but the man fumbling with cleaning equipment in that empty corporate hallway was actually the CEO running an undercover operation to test his employees' true character. Maya showed him kindness when she believed he was nobody, defended him from mockery, and fell hard for the humble man who walked her home in the rain. But when she accidentally discovered him sitting at the head of a boardroom table, everything she thought she knew shattered in an instant. The lies, the humiliation, his glamorous ex-girlfriend showing up to call her the cleaning girl in front of everyone who mattered. Maya walked away from the only man who'd ever truly seen her, but what she didn't know was that he was about to risk everything, get down on his knees in front of the entire company, and prove that real love doesn't care about titles or tax brackets. Subscribe right now and comment where you're watching from, because this story about dignity, deception, and a love that refused to stay hidden is about to show you what happens when a CEO falls for the one woman who treated him like he mattered, not like he was rich. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead as Maya Johnson pushed her cleaning cart down the empty hallway. Her sneakers squeaked against the polished floor. It was almost midnight, and the corporate building felt like a ghost town. She liked it this way, quiet, peaceful, no one staring, no one judging. Maya stopped at the executive offices on the 15th floor. Through the glass doors, she could see the city lights twinkling below. Beautiful. She allowed herself one moment to imagine what it might feel like to work in one of these offices instead of cleaning them. Then she laughed at herself and pushed the cart forward. That's when she saw him. A man stood in the supply closet, staring at an industrial vacuum cleaner like it was some kind of alien spacecraft. He wore a simple grey jumpsuit, the kind all the janitorial staff wore, but something about him seemed off. His posture was too straight, his hands were too clean, and he was definitely too confused. "You need help with that?" Maya called out. The man jumped. He turned around, and Maya's breath caught for just a second. He was handsome in an unexpected way, warm brown eyes, a genuine smile that reached all the way up to make little crinkles at the corners, sandy brown hair that looked like he'd run his fingers through it too many times tonight. "Is it that obvious?" he asked, laughing. His voice was deep and friendly. Maya walked over and glanced at the vacuum. "You're trying to turn it on, right?" "I've been standing here for 10 minutes, he admitted. "I'm starting to think it's smarter than me." She couldn't help but grin. "It's tricky. Here." She bent down and flipped a hidden switch near the bottom. The machine roared to life. "There you go. You're a lifesaver." He extended his hand. "I'm Ethan." "Maya." She shook his hand. His grip was firm but gentle. "First day?" she asked. He nodded. "Is it that obvious?" "A little bit," she said kindly. "Don't worry. Everyone struggles with this stuff at first. Even the vacuum cleaners in this place are fancy." Ethan laughed again, and Maya noticed how it lit up his whole face. "Thanks for not making me feel like a complete idiot," he said. "We've all been there." Maya picked up her spray bottle. "I should get back to work, but if you need anything else, I'm usually around." As she walked away, she felt his eyes following her. She shook her head and smiled to herself. The new janitor seemed nice enough, a little out of place maybe, but nice. Behind her, Ethan Carter stood perfectly still, watching her disappear down the hallway. His heart was beating faster than it should. He'd expected this undercover operation to be boring, tedious even. He hadn't expected her. The next morning, Maya arrived early for her second shift. The building was just waking up, coffee brewing, computers humming, the daytime staff filtering in with their designer bags and important expressions. She headed straight for the break room on the 10th floor. That's where she saw him again. Ethan stood in front of the fancy espresso machine, pressing buttons with the concentration of someone defusing a bomb. The machine beeped angrily at him. Maya bit back a laugh. "Need help again?" she asked from the doorway. He spun around, looking genuinely relieved to see her. "Maya, thank God this machine hates me." She walked over, trying not to smile too wide. "What are you trying to make?" "Just coffee. Regular coffee. I didn't think it would be this complicated." Maya gently moved him aside and pressed 3 buttons in quick succession. The machine gurgled happily and began producing a perfect cup of coffee. "How did you do that?" Ethan asked, amazed. "Practice." She handed him the cup. "I've made about 1,000 coffees on this thing." He took a sip and closed his eyes. "Perfect. You're magic." "Hardly." Maya started making her own cup. "So, what made you decide to work here? The janitorial company, I mean." Ethan hesitated for just a moment. "I needed a change. Something different. A fresh start, I guess." Maya nodded. She understood that. Everyone needs a fresh start sometimes. What about you? He asked. How long have you been here? 3 years. It's good. Steady work. She didn't mention how she'd hoped it would be temporary, how she'd dreamed of going back to school someday. The pay is decent. The people are mostly nice. Mostly? Ethan raised an eyebrow. Maya shrugged. You'll see. Some folks around here think they're better than us, but you can't let it get to you. Just then, Carla burst through the door like a tornado. She was Maya's age, with bright eyes and an even brighter personality. She wore the same cleaning uniform, but somehow made it look stylish. Girl, I've been looking everywhere for you. Carla stopped when she saw Ethan. Her eyes went wide. Oh, hello there. Carla, this is Ethan. He just started. Ethan, this is Carla. She works with me. Nice to meet you, Ethan said politely. Carla gave Maya a look that said they would definitely be talking about this later. Very nice to meet you too. I hope Maya's treating you right. She's the best teacher around here. Maya felt her cheeks warm. Carla, don't you have the 6th floor to clean? I do, but I can take a minute to meet the new guy. Carla winked at Ethan. You picked the right person to help you. Maya knows everything about this place. After Carla finally left, with several meaningful glances at Maya, Ethan turned back to her. She seems fun, he said. She's something, all right. Maya checked her watch. I really should get going. Right, of course. Ethan picked up his coffee cup. Thanks again, for this, and for yesterday. Anytime. As Maya walked away, she couldn't help wondering why the new janitor seemed so educated, so refined. His vocabulary was too good, his manners too polished. Maybe he'd fallen on hard times. Maybe he was overqualified and desperate for work. Whatever his story was, it wasn't her business, but she found herself hoping she'd run into him again soon. 2 days later, Maya was restocking paper towels in the 3rd-floor bathroom when she heard raised voices in the hallway. She recognized one of them, Marcus and Jennifer from accounting. They loved to gossip and weren't always kind about it. Curious, Maya stepped out quietly. Marcus and Jennifer stood near the water cooler, looking down their noses at Ethan. He was struggling to replace a light bulb, stretching up on his toes to reach the fixture. Can't even change a light bulb properly, Marcus muttered, loud enough for everyone to hear. They really are hiring anybody these days, Jennifer laughed. It was a mean sound. I bet he doesn't even have a high school diploma. Maya's blood boiled. She'd dealt with people like this before. People who thought a job title made them better than everyone else. She marched over with her cart. Excuse me, Maya said firmly, but some of us are trying to work. Maybe you two could gossip somewhere else. Marcus turned, surprised. We weren't talking to you. No, but you were talking loud enough for the whole floor to hear. Maya positioned herself between them and Ethan. And it's rude. He's new. He's learning. Everyone deserves a chance to learn. Jennifer crossed her arms. We were just making an observation. You were being cruel. There's a difference. Maya held her ground even though her heart was racing. Now, if you'll excuse us, we have actual work to do. Marcus opened his mouth to argue, but Jennifer pulled him away. They walked off, whispering and shooting dirty looks over their shoulders. Ethan climbed down from the ladder. His face had gone red. You didn't have to do that, he said quietly. Yes, I did. Nobody should talk to anyone like that. Maya looked up at the light fixture. Here, let me show you a trick. She grabbed the ladder and demonstrated the proper angle. Within seconds, the new bulb was installed and glowing. See? It's all about the wrist movement, she explained. Ethan was staring at her with an expression she couldn't quite read. Gratitude, maybe, or something deeper. Thank you, he said softly. Really? Nobody's ever done something like that for me before. Maya felt that strange flutter in her chest again. People should stand up for each other, that's all. They shared a smile in the empty hallway. The moment stretched between them, warm and unexpected. Then Maya's radio crackled. Her supervisor needed her on the 12th floor. I should go, she said reluctantly. Right, me too. But Ethan didn't move. Neither did Maya. Finally, Carla's voice came through the radio again, more insistent this time. Duty calls, Maya said with a small laugh. She walked away, but she could feel his eyes on her back the whole way to the elevator. That evening, Carla cornered Maya in the supply room. So, Carla said, drawing out the word, the new janitor. What about him? Don't play dumb with me. I saw how you looked at him, and how he looked at you. Maya busied herself organizing cleaning supplies. I don't know what you're talking about. Maya Johnson. We've been friends for 3 years. I know that look. Carla leaned against the shelf. He's cute. He's nice, and he definitely likes you. He's a co-worker, Carla. So? You're allowed to be happy. You're allowed to let someone in. Carla's voice softened. You've been alone for too long, ever since... Don't. Maya's voice came out sharper than she intended. I'm fine alone. I know you are, but fine isn't the same as happy. Carla touched her shoulder gently. Just think about it, okay? Maya nodded, but she didn't say anything else. Later, as she walked to her car, she thought about what Carla had said, about being happy versus being fine. The truth was, Maya had built walls around her heart, thick ones. After her last relationship ended badly, after he'd cheated and blamed her for not being exciting enough, she decided it was safer not to try. But something about Ethan made those walls feel less necessary, and that terrified her. Over the next week, Maya and Ethan kept running into each other. Sometimes it felt like coincidence, sometimes it felt like fate. One afternoon, Maya was pushing her cart toward the elevator when the wheel suddenly locked up and broke off. The cart tipped, spilling supplies everywhere. No, 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 Maya muttered, kneeling down to gather bottles and rags. Here, let me help. She looked up to find Ethan already picking up spray bottles. Together, they collected everything and piled it back into the damaged cart. This thing's seen better days, Ethan said, examining the broken wheel. Tell me about it. I've been requesting a new cart for months. Maya sighed. I'll have to drag it around until maintenance fixes it. Actually, I might be able to help with that. Ethan disappeared into a nearby maintenance closet and emerged with a toolbox. Maya watched in surprise as he flipped the cart over and got to work. His hands moved with confidence now. He'd gotten better at the job over the past week. Where'd you learn to fix things? She asked. My dad. He was always tinkering with stuff when I was a kid. Ethan's expression softened at the memory. He said a man should know how to work with his hands. Smart man. He was. Ethan tightened something with a wrench. There, good as new, well, good as old anyway. He flipped the cart back over, and Maya tested the wheel. It rolled smoothly. You're a miracle worker, she said, genuinely impressed. Just returning the favor. You've helped me enough times. Maya reached into her pocket and pulled out a granola bar. Here, it's not much, but it's all I've got right now. Ethan took it with a grin. My favorite kind. They stood there for a moment, neither one wanting to leave. Maya, Ethan said slowly, can I ask you something? Sure. Do you ever feel invisible? Like people look right through you? The question caught her off guard. It was too honest, too real. Every day, she admitted quietly. I clean their offices, I empty their trash, but most of them don't even know my name. That's what I thought. Ethan's eyes held understanding. You deserve better than that. You deserve to be seen. Maya's throat tightened. Nobody had said anything like that to her in years. Thank you, she whispered. Before either of them could say anything else, Maya's radio crackled again. She was needed on another floor. I'll see you around? She asked. Definitely. As Maya walked away, she wondered if she was imagining the connection between them. It felt real, it felt important, but she'd been wrong before. The following evening, Maya was cleaning the executive conference room when she heard voices. She froze, mop in hand. Through the partially open door, she could see Ethan talking to an older man in an expensive suit. Mr. Roberts, if she remembered correctly. He was some kind of senior advisor for the company. The quarterly reports look good, Ethan was saying. His voice sounded different, more authoritative. But I want to see the detailed breakdown before we present to the board. Of course, Mr. Roberts replied. I'll have it on your desk by tomorrow morning. Maya's eyes widened. On your desk? She must have misheard. Ethan was a janitor. Why would reports be going to his desk? Then another thought occurred to her. Maybe Ethan wasn't just a janitor. Maybe he'd been a manager before. Maybe he'd lost his job and was too embarrassed to admit it. That would explain his education, his confidence, his refined way of speaking. Her heart ached for him. When the voices stopped, Maya quickly finished mopping and headed out. But Ethan caught her in the hallway. Hey, he said, looking slightly flustered. Did you hear anything just now? Maya made a quick decision. If Ethan had fallen from a management position, the last thing he needed was for people to know. His pride was probably already hurt enough. I heard you talking, she said carefully, but it's none of my business. Everyone has their past. Ethan blinked. My past? I won't tell anyone, Maya promised. If you used to be a manager or something, and things didn't work out, I get it. Sometimes life happens, but you're doing good work now. That's what matters. Understanding dawned in Ethan's eyes, but instead of looking relieved, he looked guilty. Maya, You don't have to explain, she interrupted gently. Really, I think it's actually kind of admirable. A lot of men wouldn't be humble enough to take a job like this after being higher up. But you're not letting your ego get in the way of earning a living. That takes strength. Ethan stared at her for a long moment. Then he smiled, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. "You're something else, Maya Johnson," he said softly. "Is that a good thing or a bad thing?" "It's the best thing." They talked for a few more minutes about nothing and everything, about dreams they used to have, about what they'd do if money wasn't an issue, about their favorite foods and movies and childhood memories. Maya found herself laughing more than she had in months. Ethan was easy to talk to. He listened like her words actually mattered. He asked questions like he cared about the answers. When they finally said goodnight, Maya felt lighter than she had in years. She didn't see the way Ethan's smile faded as soon as she turned the corner. Didn't see him pull out his phone and stare at the screen. Didn't see the guilt written across his face. 3 days later, it rained. Maya had stayed late to finish an emergency cleaning job. Someone had spilled an entire pot of coffee in the main lobby. By the time she clocked out, it was past 9 o'clock, and the rain was coming down in sheets. She stood under the building's awning, watching water cascade from the sky. She'd forgotten her umbrella, of course. Waiting for it to stop, Maya turned to find Ethan beside her, also staring out at the storm. "Hoping it'll slow down at least," she said. "I have to catch the bus." "In this weather?" Ethan frowned. "That's dangerous." "It's fine. I've walked in worse." But the rain only got heavier. Thunder rumbled overhead. "Here." Ethan shrugged off his jacket. "At least take this." "I can't take your jacket. You'll get soaked." "I'm offering, please." There was something in his voice, something warm and protective, that made Maya accept the jacket. She slipped it on. It was too big, but it smelled nice, like cedar and something else she couldn't quite name. "Thank you," she said. "Come on. I'll walk with you to the bus stop." "You really don't have to." "I want to." So they stepped out into the rain together. Within seconds, they were both drenched. The jacket helped a little, but not much. Rain dripped from Ethan's hair into his eyes. Maya's shoes squelched with every step, and then Maya started laughing. "What?" Ethan asked, grinning. "This is ridiculous. We look like drowned rats." Ethan looked down at himself and laughed too. "You're right, we really do." They half walked, half ran through the downpour, laughing the whole way. By the time they reached the bus stop shelter, they were completely soaked and completely giddy. "I haven't done something this spontaneous in years," Maya said, wringing out her hair. "Me neither." Ethan leaned against the shelter wall, still smiling. "But I'm glad I did." Their eyes met. The laughter faded into something softer, something charged with possibility. Maya's bus pulled up with a hiss of air brakes. "That's me," she said reluctantly. "Maya, wait." Ethan caught her hand. "Just for a second. Would you maybe want to get coffee sometime? Real coffee. Not from that complicated machine." Her heart did a little flip. "Like a date." Exactly like a date. Maya knew she should say no. Getting involved with a co-worker was complicated. Getting involved with anyone was dangerous. She'd promised herself she wouldn't let anyone close again. But standing there in the rain, with his hand still warm around hers, she found herself saying, "Yes, I'd like that." Ethan's face lit up like someone had turned on the sun. "Really? Really?" The bus driver honked impatiently. "I have to go," Maya said. "I'll see you tomorrow." "Tomorrow." She climbed onto the bus and found a seat by the window. As the bus pulled away, she saw Ethan standing in the rain, watching her leave. He waved. Maya waved back, grinning like a teenager. Across town, in a gleaming penthouse apartment, Ethan stood dripping on expensive marble floors. He should change out of these wet clothes. He should review the reports waiting on his computer. He should think about the board meeting next week. Instead, he thought about Maya's laugh, her kindness, the way she'd defended him without hesitation, the way she'd looked at him in the rain. For the first time in years, his money and status didn't matter. His title didn't matter. None of the things that usually defined him seemed important at all. What mattered was the woman who thought he was a janitor. What mattered was that she'd said yes to coffee. Ethan looked at his reflection in the floor-to-ceiling windows. The city lights sparkled behind him, his world, his empire, and he knew he was going to have to tell her the truth eventually, but not yet. He wasn't ready to risk losing what they had. Not yet. "What am I doing?" he whispered to his reflection. His phone buzzed. A text from Mr. Roberts. "Board meeting confirmed for Friday. They're expecting your presentation." Ethan closed his eyes. 2 worlds. 2 versions of himself. He knew he couldn't keep living in both forever, but for now, for just a little longer, He wanted to be the man Maya saw, the one who fixed carts and walked in the rain, the one she'd smiled at like he actually mattered, because with her, he did matter, and that scared him more than any business deal ever had. The next morning, Maya woke up smiling. She couldn't remember the last time that had happened. Usually, mornings meant dragging herself out of bed, dreading another long shift. But today felt different. Today felt full of possibilities. She took extra care getting ready even though she'd be wearing her cleaning uniform. She put on a little mascara, a touch of lip gloss. Nothing fancy, but enough to make her feel pretty. Carla noticed immediately. "Girl, what has gotten into you?" Carla said as they met in the break room. "You're glowing." Maya tried to play it cool. "I don't know what you're talking about." Sure you don't." Carla stirred her coffee with a knowing smile. "This wouldn't have anything to do with a certain handsome janitor, would it?" "Maybe." Carla squealed and grabbed Maya's arm. "I knew it. Tell me everything." So Maya did. She told Carla about the walk in the rain, about how Ethan had asked her to coffee, about the way her stomach flipped when he smiled. "That's wonderful," Carla said warmly. "See, I told you good things happen when you open your heart. We're just going for coffee. It's not that big of a deal." "It's a huge deal, and you know it." Carla hugged her. "I'm happy for you, Maya. Really happy." For the rest of the morning, Maya floated through her work. Even the most tedious tasks felt lighter. She caught herself humming while she mopped, smiling while she emptied trash cans. She kept hoping to run into Ethan, but their paths didn't cross. Different floors, different schedules. Finally, around 2 o'clock, she saw him in the cafeteria. He was wiping down tables, his back to her. Maya walked over quietly. "Hey there, stranger." Ethan spun around and his whole face brightened. "Maya, hi. I was hoping I'd see you today." "Me too." They stood there grinning at each other like fools. "So," Ethan said, "about that coffee. Are you free Saturday afternoon?" "I am now." "Perfect. There's this little bistro downtown. Nothing fancy, but the coffee is amazing." "Sounds perfect." One of the other workers walked by, giving them a curious look. Maya suddenly felt self-conscious. She was standing in the middle of the cafeteria, smiling like an idiot at the new janitor. But when she looked back at Ethan, none of that mattered. "I should get back to work," she said reluctantly. "Right, me too." But he didn't move. Neither did Maya. Finally, Ethan laughed. "This is harder than I thought." "What is?" "Walking away from you." Maya's heart melted. "Saturday can't come soon enough." "No, it really can't." That afternoon, everything changed. Maya was on the executive floor, delivering fresh supplies to the conference rooms. She'd been up here 100 times before. It was just another part of her routine. But today she realized she'd forgotten to restock the main boardroom at the end of the hall, the big one where all the important meetings happened. She pushed her cart down the plush carpet, noticing how quiet everything was up here. No buzzing fluorescent lights, no dated furniture, just expensive art on the walls and floor-to-ceiling windows showing off the city view. The boardroom door was slightly ajar. Maya knocked softly. "Housekeeping. I just need to—" She pushed the door open and froze. Around a massive mahogany table sat a dozen people in expensive suits. Financial reports covered the table. A presentation played on the wall screen showing profit margins and growth projections. And there, at the head of the table, in a perfectly tailored navy suit, sat Ethan. But it wasn't her Ethan. Not the man who struggled with vacuum cleaners and laughed in the rain. This Ethan sat with perfect posture, commanding the room. His voice was different, confident and authoritative. Everyone's eyes were on him, waiting for his next word. "As you can see from Q3 results," Ethan was saying, "our operational efficiency has improved by—" He looked up and saw her. Their eyes met across the room. Maya watched the color drain from his face. Time seemed to slow down. Her mind struggled to process what she was seeing. The pieces started falling into place with sickening clarity. The way he'd given orders to Mr. Roberts, the fancy vocabulary, the clean hands, the phone calls he'd taken in private. This wasn't a former manager who'd lost his job. This was the CEO, Ethan Carter, the elusive CEO she'd heard about but never seen, the one who rarely came to the office, the one everyone said was brilliant but distant. He'd been here all along, playing dress-up, playing janitor, playing with her. "Maya," Ethan said, standing up. His voice cracked. "Wait, let me—" But Maya was already backing out of the room. Her hands shook, her vision blurred with tears. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't mean to interrupt." She turned and ran. Behind her she heard Ethan calling her name, heard his footsteps in the hallway. But she didn't stop. She couldn't stop. She abandoned her cart and headed straight for the stairwell, 14 flights down. She took them 2 at a time, her breath coming in gasps that had nothing to do with the physical exertion. He'd lied to her. Every conversation, every smile, every moment they'd shared, all of it had been a lie. She burst out of the stairwell into the parking garage, gasping for air. Her chest felt tight. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. How could she have been so stupid? She'd actually believed a man like that could care about someone like her, a cleaning lady, a nobody. He must have been laughing at her the whole time. Poor, naive Maya, falling for the CEO's little game. She thought about the walk in the rain, how special it had felt, how real, but it had all been fake. Tears streamed down her face. She didn't bother wiping them away. Her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "Maya, please, let me explain. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, please don't leave. Ethan." She deleted the message without responding. Then she clocked out, went home, and cried herself to sleep. The next day, Maya called in sick. She couldn't face him, couldn't face the building, couldn't face the humiliation of everyone knowing she'd been fooled. Carla called her 3 times before Maya finally answered. "What's wrong?" Carla demanded. "You never call in sick. Are you okay?" "I'm fine," Maya lied. "You are a terrible liar." What happened? So Maya told her everything. About discovering Ethan in the boardroom, about realizing he was the CEO, about feeling like the biggest fool in the world. Carla was quiet for a long moment. "Oh, honey," she finally said. "I'm so sorry. I should have known better. Men like that don't fall for women like me." "Don't say that. Don't you dare say that." Carla's voice was fierce. "You are smart and kind and beautiful. Any man would be lucky to have you. And if he lied to you, that's on him, not you. But why would he do it? Why would he pretend? I don't know, but you deserve an explanation. You deserve the truth. I don't want to talk to him. You don't have to. Not yet. Take your time. Feel your feelings. But don't let him make you doubt yourself. You didn't do anything wrong." After they hung up, Maya stared at the ceiling. She wanted to believe Carla, wanted to believe she wasn't stupid for trusting him. But the hurt was too fresh, too raw. She spent the whole day in bed, alternating between crying and being angry. At him for lying, at herself for believing. Her phone kept buzzing with texts from Ethan. She didn't read them, couldn't read them. Finally, she turned off her phone and tried to sleep. Maya went back to work the next day. She had to. Bills didn't stop just because your heart was broken. Rent was still due. Life still went on, whether you were ready or not. She kept her head down and focused on her work. Avoided the executive floors. Avoided anywhere she might run into Ethan. But the building felt different now. Tainted. Every corner reminded her of him. The coffee machine, the supply closet, the hallway where he'd fixed her cart. Carla stuck close, running interference. Whenever someone asked where Maya had been yesterday, Carla made up stories about stomach bugs and food poisoning. Around noon, Maya was cleaning a conference room on the 8th floor when she sensed someone behind her. "Maya," Ethan's voice. She kept her back to him, continuing to wipe down the table. "I'm working. Please, just give me 2 minutes. That's all I ask. I don't owe you anything." "I know. You're right. But I owe you an explanation." Maya finally turned around. He looked terrible. Dark circles under his eyes. His usually neat hair was messy. His suit was wrinkled. Good, she thought viciously. He should suffer too. "Fine," she said coldly. 2 minutes. Ethan took a breath. "I disguised myself as a janitor because I wanted to know who on my staff was genuine, who treated people with kindness, regardless of their position. I've had bad experiences with people only caring about my money, my title. I wanted to see the real side of this company. So we were all just part of your little experiment?" Maya's voice shook with anger. "No, that's not..." He ran his hand through his hair. "It started that way. But then I met you, and everything changed." "Don't." Maya held up her hand. "Don't you dare try to make this romantic. You lied to me. Every single day you lied." "I did, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Maya. Did you laugh about it?" The words came out broken. "When you went home to your fancy penthouse, did you tell your rich friends about the dumb cleaning lady who believed you?" "God, no, Maya, never." Ethan stepped forward. "You're the most real person I've ever met. Being with you was the only time I felt like myself. The only time I felt like I mattered for who I was, not what I had. That's the problem, Ethan. You never showed me who you were. You showed me a lie. The feelings were real. Everything between us was real." Maya felt tears threatening, but she refused to cry in front of him. I don't believe you. Then let me prove it. Have coffee with me. Let me explain properly. Why should I? Because despite everything, you feel it too, this connection between us. It's real, Maya. Please. She wanted to say no, wanted to tell him to leave her alone forever. But a small traitorous part of her heart wanted to believe him, wanted to believe that something that felt so real could actually be real. One coffee, she finally said. One chance. That's all you get. Relief flooded his face. Thank you so much. Don't thank me yet. I haven't forgiven you. I know. I don't expect you to. I just want a chance to make this right. Maya picked up her cleaning supplies. Saturday, 7 o'clock, that bistro you mentioned. I'll be there. As Maya walked away, she wondered if she was making a huge mistake. Probably. But she had to know if any of it had been real. She had to know if the man she'd fallen for actually existed, even if it meant risking her heart all over again. Word spread fast. By the end of the day, everyone knew. The CEO had been working undercover as a janitor, and he'd developed feelings for one of the cleaning staff. Maya heard the whispers everywhere she went. Can you believe it? Do you think she knew? She must have been in on it. Or maybe she seduced him, trying to climb the social ladder. That last one hurt the most. Maya was restocking paper towels in the fourth-floor bathroom when she heard voices outside. 2 women from the marketing department. She recognized them, Jennifer and another woman named Sharon. I'm just saying it's suspicious, Jennifer was saying. She just happened to be nice to him. Come on. She must have figured out who he was. Maybe she's smarter than we thought, Sharon replied. Land the CEO and you're set for life. It's actually kind of pathetic, using her position to seduce him. Maya's hands clenched around the paper towel package. She wanted to march out there and defend herself. But what would she say? That she'd been completely fooled? That she hadn't known? That sounded even worse. So she stayed quiet and let the tears fall silently. Later, Carla found her in the supply closet, sitting on the floor with her head in her hands. Oh, honey. Carla sat down beside her and pulled Maya into a hug. Don't listen to them, they're just jealous. They think I'm some kind of gold digger, Maya sobbed. They think I knew and I was trying to use him. Anyone who knows you knows that's not true. But they don't know me, nobody here really knows me. Maya wiped her eyes. I'm invisible, remember? I'm just the cleaning lady. And now they think I'm a manipulative cleaning lady. You are not invisible. Not to me, not to anyone who matters. Carla squeezed her hand, and definitely not to him. I don't know if that makes it better or worse. They sat in silence for a while, surrounded by mops and cleaning supplies. Are you really going to have coffee with him? Carla finally asked. Maya nodded. I need closure. I need to understand why. And if he gives you a good reason? What then? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Maya barely slept on Friday night. She kept changing her mind. Go, don't go, give him a chance, protect yourself. By Saturday morning, she was exhausted and anxious and still not sure what to do. Carla came over to help her get ready. You're going, Carla said firmly, pulling clothes out of Maya's closet. Even if it's just to tell him off properly, you're going. What if it's a mistake? What if it's not? Carla held up a deep green dress. This one. It brings out your eyes. It's just coffee. It's never just coffee. By 6:30, Maya was ready. The green dress, simple jewelry, her hair in soft curls. She looked at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the nervous woman staring back. You look beautiful, Carla said. Now go get your answers. The bistro was a small place tucked between a bookstore and a flower shop. Fairy lights hung in the windows. Soft music played from somewhere inside. It was charming, intimate. Nothing like the fancy restaurants Maya had imagined a CEO would choose. She arrived exactly at 7 o'clock. Ethan was already there, sitting at a corner table. He stood up when he saw her, and his expression took her breath away. He looked at her like she was the most beautiful thing he'd ever seen. You came, he said softly. I said I would. I know, but I wasn't sure if you'd change your mind. He pulled out her chair. Thank you. They sat down in awkward silence. A waitress came over with menus, but Ethan waved them away. Just coffee for now, he said. 2 coffees, however she likes hers. The waitress left, and they were alone again. Maya, Ethan began. I need you to know. Why? Maya interrupted. That's what I need to know. Why did you lie? Ethan looked down at his hands. Because I've been lied to my whole life. People who wanted my money. People who wanted connections. People who pretended to care, but really only cared about what I could do for them. So you decided to lie first? I know how it sounds. I know it was wrong. He met her eyes. but you have to understand. I've never known if someone liked me for me or liked me for what I have. And after my last relationship, he trailed off, pain crossing his face. What happened? Maya asked quietly. Her name was Elaine. We dated for 2 years. I thought she loved me. I was even planning to propose. He laughed bitterly. Then I overheard her talking to a friend. She was bragging about landing a rich CEO, laughing about how boring I was, but the money made it worth it. Maya's anger softened just a little. That's awful. It destroyed me, made me question everything, every relationship, every friendship. He looked at her with raw honesty. So when the board suggested I spend time on the ground floor, see how the company really operates, I thought it was perfect. I could test people, see who was genuine. And I passed your test. You weren't a test, Maya. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Ethan reached across the table but stopped short of touching her hand. You were real. The first real thing I'd experienced in years. The way you defended me. The way you helped me without expecting anything in return. The way you laughed in the rain. The waitress brought their coffee. Maya wrapped her hands around the warm cup, needing something to hold on to. Everything I felt was real, Ethan continued. Every moment we shared, every conversation. That was me. The real me. Not the CEO. Just Ethan. But you are the CEO, Maya said. That's the problem. You can't separate them. You are both. I know. And I should have told you sooner. I was going to. After our coffee date, I was going to come clean and hope you'd understand. But I found out first. Yes. They sat in silence, sipping their coffee. Maya's mind was spinning. She wanted to stay angry, wanted to hold on to her hurt and use it as armor. But looking at him now, seeing the vulnerability in his eyes, she couldn't quite manage it. I don't know if I can trust you again, she said honestly. I know, and I don't blame you. Ethan's voice was soft. But I want to try. If you'll let me. I want to show you that the man you met, the one who fixed your cart and walked you to the bus, that's who I really am. The suits and the boardrooms and the money, that's just what I do, not who I am. How do I know you're not lying now? You don't. That's the thing about trust, isn't it? It's a leap of faith. He finally reached across the table and gently touched her hand. But I'm asking you to take that leap. Give me a chance to prove myself, not as the CEO. Just as Ethan. Just as the man who's completely fallen for you. Maya's breath caught. Fallen for me. Yes, I'm falling in love with you, Maya. Maybe I already have. And I know I have no right to say that, after what I did. I know I hurt you, but I can't let you walk away without telling you the truth. The whole truth. Tears welled up in Maya's eyes. You're making this really hard. I'm sorry. I don't mean to pressure you. If you want to leave right now, I'll understand. I'll leave you alone. But please believe me when I say that every moment with you has been the most real, most wonderful thing in my life. A tear slipped down Maya's cheek. Ethan reached out and gently wiped it away. Don't cry, he whispered. Please don't cry. These aren't sad tears, Maya admitted. I'm confused and scared, and I don't know what to do. Then don't do anything yet. Just sit here with me, drink your coffee, and we'll figure it out together. So they sat and talked. And slowly, carefully, the tension between them began to ease. Ethan told her more about his past, about his father who died when he was young, about inheriting the company too soon, about the pressure and loneliness that came with the title. Maya told him about her dreams, about wanting to go back to school someday, about how she'd convinced herself she was fine being invisible, because it was safer than being seen and rejected. You're not invisible, Ethan said. Not to me. You're the only thing I see. By the time they finished their coffee, it was dark outside. The fairy lights in the window glowed warmly. Can I walk you home? Ethan asked. Maya hesitated, then nodded. They walked slowly through the quiet streets, not holding hands, not quite touching, but close enough that Maya could feel his warmth. I'm still hurt, Maya said as they reached her building. And I'm still scared. I don't know if I can forgive you yet. I understand, but I want to try. I want to believe this could be real. Hope lit up Ethan's face. Really? Really? But you have to promise me something. Anything. No more lies. No more games. If we do this, we do it honestly, even when it's hard. I promise. Complete honesty from now on. They stood on the sidewalk looking at each other under the streetlight. Can I kiss you? Ethan asked softly. Maya's heart raced. She knew she should say no, should protect herself, should wait until she was sure. But she'd been protecting herself for so long, and she was tired of being safe. Yes, she whispered. Ethan stepped closer and cupped her face gently. He looked into her eyes, asking permission one more time. Then he kissed her. It was soft and sweet and full of promise. It tasted like hope and second chances. When they pulled apart, Maya was smiling despite herself. "Wow," she breathed. "Yeah," Ethan agreed. "Wow." They said goodnight reluctantly. Maya went inside, her head spinning and her heart doing cartwheels. She had no idea if she was making the right choice. No idea if this could actually work. But for the first time in days, she felt something other than hurt. She felt hope. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough. The next morning, Maya woke up with butterflies in her stomach. She touched her lips, remembering the kiss. It had felt so right, so perfect. Like all the broken pieces inside her were finally starting to fit back together. But doubt crept in with the morning light. Was she being stupid, trusting him again after he'd lied? What if he hurt her again? What if this was all just another game? Her phone buzzed with a text from Carla. "Emergency coffee meeting, now I need details." Maya smiled, despite her worries. She got dressed and headed to their favorite coffee shop, not the fancy bistro from last night, but the little place near her apartment that served coffee in chipped mugs and made the best blueberry muffins in the city. Carla was already there, bouncing in her seat with excitement. "Tell me everything," Carla demanded before Maya even sat down. "And I mean everything. Don't leave out a single detail." So Maya told her about the bistro, about Ethan's explanation, about his ex-girlfriend and his fear of being used, about the kiss. "Girl," Carla grabbed her hands, "he's in love with you. He said he was falling for me. That's different." "Barely. Did you see the way he looked at you the other day? That man is gone. Completely gone." Carla grinned. "So what are you going to do?" "I don't know. I want to try. But I'm scared, Carla. What if I'm not enough for his world? What if I embarrass him? What if—" "Stop!" Carla squeezed her hands. "You are more than enough. You are kind and smart and beautiful. Any world that doesn't see that isn't worth being in. But he's a CEO. He has fancy dinners and important meetings. I clean toilets for a living. So what? Your job doesn't define your worth. You know that, right?" Maya wanted to believe her, she really did, but years of feeling invisible had taught her differently. "Besides," Carla continued, "if he wanted someone from his world, he'd be dating one of those uptight executive types. But he's not. He chose you, because you're real, because you're you. You make it sound so simple. It is simple. Either you trust him or you don't. Either you give this a real shot or you walk away." Carla's expression softened. "I know you're scared, but honey, you can't let fear keep you from being happy. Not again." Maya thought about her last relationship. How she'd closed herself off afterward. How she'd convinced herself that being alone was better than risking her heart. But Ethan made her want to risk it. Made her want to be brave. "Okay," Maya said quietly. "I'm going to try. Really try." Carla clapped her hands. "Yes, that's my girl." They spent the rest of the morning talking and laughing. For the first time in days, Maya felt light, hopeful. Her phone buzzed with a text from Ethan. "Good morning. I can't stop thinking about last night. Thank you for giving me a chance. Can I see you today?" Maya smiled and typed back, "I'd like that." Over the next few days, Ethan and Maya fell into a careful dance. They had lunch together in quiet corners of the cafeteria, took coffee breaks on the roof, watching the city spread out below them, talked for hours about everything and nothing. Ethan told her about the pressure of running a company, about sleepless nights worrying about decisions that affected hundreds of employees, about wishing his father was still alive to give him advice. Maya told him about her mother's battle with cancer 5 years ago, about how she dropped out of college to take care of her, about how cleaning jobs were flexible and paid just enough to keep them afloat until her mother passed. "I'm so sorry," Ethan said, his eyes full of genuine pain for her. "That must have been incredibly hard." "It was, but it also taught me what's really important. Not money or status, just being there for the people you love." Ethan took her hand. "You're extraordinary, Maya Johnson." "I'm really not. You are. And I wish you could see yourself the way I see you." At work, Maya noticed things changing. Some people still whispered and gossiped, but others, like Mr. Roberts, started treating her with respect, nodding hello in the hallways, holding doors open for her. It felt strange, uncomfortable even. She wasn't used to being seen, but Ethan was patient. He never pushed her to be comfortable with attention, never tried to change her. He just supported her one small moment at a time. One afternoon, Ethan came to find Maya on the 7th floor. He was wearing his suit, CEO Ethan, not Janitor Ethan. But his smile was the same, warm and genuine and just for her. "I have something to ask you," he said. "Okay. There's a charity event this Friday. The company hosts it every year. We raise money for children's hospitals." He looked nervous. "I'd really like you to come as my date." Maya's stomach dropped. "A charity event with your employees, your board members?" "Yes, but you don't have to if you're not ready. I understand if—" "I want to say yes," Maya interrupted, "but I don't know if I can. All those people, all that pressure." Ethan stepped closer. "You wouldn't be going as my employee. You'd be going as the woman I'm dating, the woman I care about more than I've cared about anyone in years. What if I say the wrong thing? What if I use the wrong fork? What if I embarrass you?" "You could never embarrass me. You're perfect exactly as you are." But Maya wasn't convinced. The thought of walking into a room full of executives and board members on Ethan's arm made her want to throw up. "I need to think about it," she said finally. "Of course. Take all the time you need." He kissed her forehead gently. "But Maya, you'd make that whole event better just by being there." After he left, Maya stood in the empty hallway, her heart pounding. Carla found her there 10 minutes later. "I heard," Carla said. "Ethan asked you to the charity thing. How did you already know that?" "Honey, news travels fast around here." Carla leaned against the wall. "So are you going?" "I don't know, I'm terrified." "Of what?" "Of not fitting in. Of people judging me. Of proving all the gossip's right, that I'm just the cleaning lady who doesn't belong." Carla turned Maya to face her. "Listen to me. Those people, half of them are boring and fake. They talk about stock prices and golf. You are more interesting, more genuine, and more worthy than any of them. You have to say that. You're my friend." "I'm saying it because it's true." Carla's eyes were fierce. "And you know what else? Ethan knows it too. That's why he wants you there, not some plastic socialite. You." Maya took a shaky breath. "What if I go and it's a disaster? Then it's a disaster. So what? At least you tried. At least you were brave." Carla hugged her. "Don't let fear steal your happiness, Maya. You deserve this. You deserve him. You deserve to be seen and celebrated." That evening, Maya texted Ethan, "I'll go to the charity event with you, but I'm going to need help figuring out what to wear." His response came immediately. "You could wear a paper bag and still be the most beautiful woman there, but I'll send you some suggestions if it helps. Thank you for saying yes." "You just made my whole week." Maya smiled at her phone, feeling nervous and excited and terrified all at once. Friday arrived too quickly. Maya stood in front of her bathroom mirror, smoothing down her dress for the 100th time. It was a deep navy blue, simple but elegant. Carla had helped her pick it out, along with silver earrings and a delicate bracelet. "You look like a princess," Carla had declared at the store. Now, looking at her reflection, Maya barely recognized herself. She'd never worn anything this nice, never done her makeup this carefully, never felt this nervous. Her phone buzzed. "Ethan, I'm outside whenever you're ready. No rush." Maya took one last breath, grabbed her clutch and headed downstairs. Ethan was waiting beside a sleek black car. He wore a perfectly tailored tuxedo that made him look like he'd stepped out of a magazine. But when he saw her, his mouth literally fell open. "Maya," he breathed, wow, you're absolutely stunning." She felt her cheeks warm. "You clean up pretty nice yourself." He opened the car door for her. "I'm the luckiest man alive." The drive to the event venue was short, but felt like an eternity. Maya's hands wouldn't stop shaking. Ethan noticed and took one of her hands in his. "Hey," he said softly, "you don't have to be nervous. Just be yourself. That's all anyone needs you to be." Easy for you to say. You were born for this world. Actually, I wasn't. I inherited it. There's a difference. He squeezed her hand. "And honestly, I hate these events. They're all fake smiles and small talk. But having you there will make it bearable. Maybe even enjoyable." They pulled up to a beautiful hotel. Lights blazed from every window. Well-dressed people streamed through the entrance. Maya's nerves kicked into overdrive. "I can't do this," she whispered. "Yes, you can, and I'll be right beside you the whole time." Ethan lifted her hand and kissed it gently. "Ready?" "No," she wanted to say, but instead she nodded. They walked in together, and immediately heads turned. Maya heard the whispers. "Is that her? The cleaning lady? She's actually quite pretty. I wonder how long this will last." Ethan's jaw tightened, but he didn't acknowledge the gossip. He just kept his hand on the small of Maya's back, guiding her through the crowd. Mr. Roberts approached them with a warm smile. "Miss Johnson," he said, extending his hand, "it's wonderful to see you here." You look lovely. Thank you, Mr. Roberts, Maya said, surprised by his genuine kindness. I've heard excellent things about your work ethic. The company is lucky to have you. Maya blinked. Was this really happening? Was the senior advisor treating her like an equal? Thank you, she managed. That means a lot. As the evening progressed, Maya started to relax. Not everyone was judging her. Some people were actually kind. A few women complimented her dress. One executive talked to her about his daughter who was studying social work, and Ethan never left her side. He introduced her proudly, made sure she always had a drink, checked in with his eyes to make sure she was okay. During dinner, Maya found herself laughing at a story one of the board members was telling. She caught Ethan watching her with such warmth in his eyes that her breath caught. He leaned over and whispered, "See? You're shining. I knew you would." Maya smiled back, feeling proud and happy, and like maybe, just maybe, she could belong here after all. Then everything fell apart. A woman's voice cut through the gentle chatter. "Ethan, darling." Maya looked up to see a stunning blonde woman in a red dress that probably cost more than Maya's monthly rent. She was beautiful in that untouchable way. Perfect makeup, perfect hair, perfect everything. Ethan's face went pale. "Elaine," he said stiffly. The woman, Elaine, glided over to their table like she owned the place. Her eyes swept over Maya with barely concealed disdain. "I heard a rumor you were seeing someone new," Elaine said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "But I had to see it for myself." "Elaine, this isn't the time or place," Ethan said firmly. "Oh, don't be rude. Aren't you going to introduce us?" Elaine turned to Maya, her smile sharp as a knife. "I'm Elaine Montgomery, Ethan's ex-fiancée." Maya's world tilted. Ex-fiancée? Ethan had said ex-girlfriend. He'd never mentioned they were engaged. "Maya Johnson," she said quietly, trying to keep her voice steady. "Johnson." Elaine tapped her chin thoughtfully. "That name sounds familiar." "Oh, you're the cleaning girl, aren't you?" "How quaint." The word hit Maya like a slap. "Elaine, that's enough," Ethan said, his voice hard. "What? I'm just making conversation." Elaine's eyes glittered with malice. "Though I have to say, Ethan, this is quite the downgrade, from fiancé to... What exactly is she?" Maya stood up abruptly. Her chair scraped against the floor, drawing more attention. Everyone at nearby tables was now openly staring. "Excuse me," Maya said, her voice shaking. "I need some air." "Maya, wait!" Ethan reached for her hand, but she pulled away. She walked quickly toward the exit, her vision blurring with tears. Behind her, she heard Ethan's voice raised in anger, heard Elaine's cutting laughter, but she didn't stop. She couldn't stop. She burst through the hotel doors into the cool night air. The beautiful evening that had been going so well now felt like a cruel joke. Cleaning girl, downgrade, quaint. The words echoed in her head. She'd been fooling herself, thinking she could belong in Ethan's world, thinking she could be enough, but she wasn't. She never would be. "Maya!" She turned to see Ethan running after her, his tuxedo jacket flying open. "Don't," she said, holding up her hand. "Just don't. I'm so sorry. Elaine had no right to speak to you that way." "She was right though, wasn't she?" Maya's voice broke. "I'm just the cleaning girl. I don't belong at fancy charity events. I don't belong in your world." "That's not true. You belong wherever you want to be." "No, Ethan, I don't." Tears streamed down her face now. "This was a mistake, all of it. We're from different worlds. I was stupid to think we could make this work." "You're not stupid. You're the smartest, strongest person I know." "Stop it." Maya's voice cracked with emotion. "Stop trying to make me feel better. Stop pretending this can work. It can't. It never could." "Maya, please. You didn't even tell me she was your fiancée. You said girlfriend. You're still keeping secrets from me." Ethan's face crumpled. "I didn't think it mattered. It was over long before." "Everything matters, don't you see? There will always be something, always some part of your past, your world, your life that I don't fit into." Maya wrapped her arms around herself. "I can't do this. I can't spend my life wondering if I'm good enough, wondering when the next Elaine will show up and remind me of my place." "Your place is with me," Ethan said desperately, "by my side, as my equal." "We're not equals. We never were." She took a step back. "I'm sorry, Ethan, but this is over. It has to be." "No, Maya, no, please don't do this. I have to, for me. I have to protect myself." She turned away, unable to look at his broken expression any longer. "Goodbye, Ethan." She walked away, her heels clicking on the pavement. Each step felt like her heart was breaking a little more. Behind her, she heard Ethan call her name one more time, but she didn't turn around. She couldn't. If she turned around, she'd run back to him, and she couldn't do that. She had to be strong, had to protect what was left of her heart, even if it killed her. Maya took a taxi home. She couldn't bear the thought of waiting for a bus while crying her eyes out. As soon as she got to her apartment, she collapsed on her bed, still in her beautiful dress, and sobbed. Great, heaving sobs that came from somewhere deep inside her chest. Her phone rang. Ethan. She ignored it. It rang again, and again, and again. Finally, she turned it off. Carla showed up an hour later. Maya had texted her 3 words. It's over. Come, please. Carla let herself in with the spare key and found Maya curled up on the bed, mascara streaked down her face, dress wrinkled and tear-stained. Oh, honey, Carla whispered. She lay down beside Maya and pulled her into a hug. What happened? Through broken sobs, Maya told her everything. About Elaine, about the humiliation, about realizing she'd never truly fit into Ethan's world. That woman is poison, Carla said fiercely, and you're letting her win. She's right, though. I am just a cleaning lady. What was I thinking? Stop it. Stop putting yourself down. Carla made Maya look at her. You are so much more than your job. You're kind and loving and genuine. Those are the things that matter. Not money, not status, but his world. His world is full of people like Elaine. Fake, shallow people. You're the real thing, Maya. That's why he fell for you. It doesn't matter. I can't do it, Carla. I can't keep putting myself in situations where I feel small and worthless. Carla was quiet for a moment. I understand. I do. But answer me this. Do you love him? Maya's breath hitched. I don't know. Maybe. I was starting to. Then isn't he worth fighting for? Isn't your happiness worth fighting for? I'm too tired to fight. I'm too tired to be brave. Carla held her while she cried some more. Eventually, exhaustion took over, and Maya fell into a fitful sleep. In his penthouse across the city, Ethan sat in the dark, staring at his phone. He'd tried calling Maya 17 times. She wasn't answering. Mr. Roberts had driven him home after he'd confronted Elaine at the event. He'd told her exactly what he thought of her cruelty, told her she was never welcome at any company event again, told her that her petty jealousy had destroyed the best thing that had ever happened to him. Elaine had just laughed and walked away. Now, Ethan felt hollow, empty, like someone had carved out his insides and left nothing but echoes. He'd finally found something real, someone who saw him, really saw him, and he'd lost her because he'd been a coward, because he'd tried to bring her into his world instead of building a new world with her, because he'd failed to protect her from the exact kind of cruelty he'd been trying to shield himself from. His phone buzzed. A text from Mr. Roberts. I'm sorry about tonight. For what it's worth, she's exactly what you need. Don't give up on her. Ethan stared at the message for a long time. Then he threw his phone across the room and put his head in his hands. The next few days were torture for both of them. Maya went through the motions of her life like a zombie. Work, home, sleep, repeat. She avoided Ethan's usual haunts in the building, came in early, and left late to minimize the chance of running into him. Carla stuck close, bringing her coffee and forcing her to eat. But even Carla's optimism couldn't break through the fog of sadness surrounding Maya. The gossip at work reached new heights. I heard she dumped him. Can you imagine? Turning down a CEO? She must be crazy. Or smart. Maybe she realized it would never work. Maya heard it all and felt nothing. Numbness was better than pain. On Tuesday, she was cleaning the break room late at night when she felt someone watching her. She turned to find Ethan standing in the doorway. He looked terrible, dark circles under his eyes, his suit rumpled, his hair messy like he'd been running his hands through it for days. Maya, he said hoarsely, please, can we talk? There's nothing to talk about. There's everything to talk about. He stepped into the room. I know I messed up. I know I should have warned you about Elaine, should have prepared you better for my world. It's not your fault. It's just reality. What Elaine said was cruel and untrue. You're not a downgrade. You're not just anything. You're everything. Maya felt tears threatening, but she blinked them back. It doesn't matter what one mean woman said. The problem is bigger than that. Then help me understand. Help me fix it. You can't fix it, Ethan. Maya set down her cleaning supplies and finally looked at him. We're from different worlds. You have money and power and a life I can't even imagine. I clean buildings for minimum wage. No amount of wanting it to work can change that. I don't care about any of that. But I do. The words burst out of her. I care that I felt small and worthless at that event. I care that people whisper about me like I'm some gold digger. I care that there will always be another Elaine. Another reminder that I don't belong. You do belong. With me. That's the only place that matters. I need to belong to myself first. And right now I don't. Maya picked up her supplies again. I'm sorry, Ethan, but I can't do this. It hurts too much. Maya, please just let me go. Ethan stood frozen for a moment. Then he nodded slowly, defeat written across his face. If that's what you really want, he said quietly, I'll respect your decision, but I need you to know something first. What? I love you. I'm in love with you. Completely, utterly, hopelessly in love with you. His voice broke. And if you ever change your mind, if you ever want to give us another chance, I'll be waiting, however long it takes. Then he turned and walked away. Maya stood alone in the break room, her vision blurred with tears, her heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. And for the first time since her mother died, she let herself truly fall apart. Maya didn't go to work the next day, or the day after that. She called in sick, but it wasn't exactly a lie. Her heart felt sick. Her whole body ached with sadness. She spent hours in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment with Ethan, the way he'd smiled at her, the way he'd fixed her cart, the way he'd kissed her under the streetlights, the way he'd said he loved her. She'd walked away from that, from him, from the possibility of real happiness. But what choice did she have? Staying meant constant reminders that she wasn't enough, that she'd always be the cleaning lady who got lucky, that she'd always be out of place. Carla came over every evening after work, bringing food Maya didn't eat and comfort she couldn't quite accept. You need to talk to someone, Carla said on Wednesday night. Your mum's sister, your cousin, anyone. I don't want to burden them. That's what family is for. Sharing burdens. Carla squeezed her hand. At least think about it. After Carla left, Maya stared at her phone. She hadn't talked to her Aunt Patricia in months, not since her birthday. But Carla was right. She needed someone. Someone who knew her, someone who could help her see clearly. She dialed the number. Maya? Her aunt's warm voice filled the line. Baby girl, is that you? Hi, Aunt Pat. Maya's voice cracked. I need to talk. I'm listening, honey. Tell me everything. So Maya did. She told her aunt about Ethan, about falling for him when she thought he was just a janitor, about the lies and the truth and the charity event and Elaine's cruelty. Aunt Patricia listened without interrupting. When Maya finally finished, there was a long pause. That's quite a story, her aunt said softly, but I have one question for you. What? Do you love him? Maya's breath caught. Yes, I think I do. Maybe I have for a while. Then why are you running? I'm not running. I'm protecting myself. Baby girl, those are the same thing. Her aunt's voice was gentle but firm. Your mama, God rest her soul, she taught you to be strong. But being strong doesn't mean building walls. It means having the courage to be vulnerable even when it's scary. But what if I'm not enough for his world? What if you are? What if you're more than enough, and the only person who doesn't see it is you? Maya felt tears sliding down her cheeks. Listen to me, Aunt Patricia continued. I watched your mama fight cancer with everything she had. You know what she told me the day before she died? She said her only regret was being too afraid to take chances when she was young, too worried about what people thought, too scared of failing. She never told me that, because she wanted you to be braver than she was. She wanted you to grab life with both hands and not let fear hold you back. Her aunt's voice thickened with emotion. Don't let pride steal your happiness, Maya. Don't let other people's opinions matter more than your own heart. Maya sobbed into the phone. I'm so scared, Aunt Pat. I know, baby. Love is scary. But you know what's scarier? Looking back in 20 years and wondering what might have been. They talked for another hour, about love and fear and courage, about Maya's mother and the dreams she'd never chased, about how life was too short to play it safe. When they finally hung up, Maya felt different, lighter somehow, like a weight she'd been carrying for years had finally lifted. She thought about Ethan, about how he'd looked at her like she was the most important person in the world, about how he'd said he loved her, about how she'd walked away without saying it back. Maybe Aunt Patricia was right. Maybe being brave didn't mean protecting herself from pain. Maybe it meant risking the pain for a chance at something real. Maya picked up her phone and stared at Ethan's number, but she couldn't call. Not yet. She wasn't ready. She needed to think, to figure out what she really wanted, to find the courage her mother had wished she'd had. On Thursday morning, Maya finally went back to work. She needed the routine, the normalcy, the distraction from her spinning thoughts. But the moment she stepped into the building, she knew something was different. People were whispering more than usual, clustering in groups. staring and pointing. Maya's stomach dropped. What now? She found Carla in the break room and her friend's eyes were wide. You haven't heard? Carla asked. Heard what? Girl, you need to see this. Carla grabbed her arm and pulled her toward the main lobby. A crowd had gathered near the elevators. Maya pushed through, confused and anxious. Then she saw him, Ethan, but not CEO Ethan in his expensive suit. This was Ethan in a grey janitorial uniform, down on his hands and knees, scrubbing the lobby floor. Maya's heart stopped. Mr. Robert stood nearby, looking both concerned and oddly proud. Several executives clustered together, whispering and staring. Regular employees held up phones, recording. What is he doing? Maya breathed. What he should have done from the start, Carla said quietly. Proving himself. Maya watched as Ethan worked. His movements were careful and methodical. His face was focused, determined. He didn't look up at the whispers or the stares. He just kept cleaning. Someone from accounting, Marcus, the one who'd mocked him weeks ago, walked past and sneered. Look at the mighty CEO, finally doing real work. Ethan didn't respond. He just kept scrubbing. Another executive, Jennifer, laughed. Is this some kind of publicity stunt? Still, Ethan said nothing. He wrung out his mop and moved to the next section of floor. Maya felt something shift inside her chest. This wasn't a stunt. This was real. This was Ethan showing everyone, showing her, that he wasn't above this work, that he respected it, that he respected her. She watched him for another moment, her heart hammering. Then she walked over to the supply closet, grabbed a mop, and joined him. The lobby went silent. Ethan looked up, and when he saw her, his eyes filled with so much hope and love that Maya almost couldn't breathe. Hi, she said softly. Hi, he replied, his voice rough with emotion. They didn't say anything else. They just worked side by side, cleaning the lobby floor while everyone watched. After a few minutes, Mr. Roberts smiled and walked away. The crowd began to disperse. The gossip would continue, Maya knew, but somehow it mattered less now. When the floor was finally clean, Ethan stood up and faced her. I'm sorry, he said, for everything, for lying, for not protecting you from Elaine, for not understanding how hard my world would be for you. Ethan, let me finish, please. He took a shaky breath. I've been so worried about people using me for my money that I forgot what actually matters. You saw me when I was nobody. You treated me with kindness when I was just a janitor. That's who you are. That's why I fell in love with you. Tears welled in Maya's eyes. I don't need you to fit into my world, Ethan continued. I need to build a new world with you, one where we're equals, where your kindness and strength are valued as much as any boardroom decision. He reached out and gently took her hand. I love you, Maya, not despite who you are, but because of who you are, every single part of you. Maya's defenses crumbled. I love you too. I was too scared to say it before, but I do. I love you so much. Ethan's face broke into the most beautiful smile. Really? Really? And I'm sorry too, for running, for letting pride and fear make my decisions. She squeezed his hand. My Aunt Pat told me something. She said my mom's biggest regret was being too afraid to take chances. I don't want that to be my story. So what do you want? I want to be brave. I want to try. Maya looked up at him through her tears. I want us. For real this time. Honest and equal and together. I want that too. More than anything. They stood there in the middle of the lobby, holding hands, crying and smiling at the same time. Can I kiss you? Ethan asked. You better. He leaned down and kissed her softly. It was sweet and tender and full of promise. When they pulled apart, Maya noticed people were watching again, but this time she didn't care. Let them stare, she whispered. Ethan laughed. That's my girl. Over the next few days, things slowly shifted. Ethan and Maya were honest with each other in ways they'd never been before. They talked about their fears, their insecurities, their hopes for the future. Ethan admitted he was terrified of being abandoned, that every relationship he'd had ended when people got what they wanted from him, that Maya was the first person who made him feel truly seen. Maya admitted she'd felt invisible for so long that being seen scared her, that she'd built walls to protect herself from rejection, that loving Ethan meant tearing those walls down, and it was the hardest thing she'd ever done. But they were doing it together, one honest conversation at a time. On Saturday, Ethan took Maya to meet Mr. Roberts for coffee. Maya was nervous, but Mr. Roberts greeted her with a warm handshake and genuine smile. Miss Johnson, he said, I'm glad Ethan finally came to his senses. Maya laughed. Thank you for being so kind to me. It means a lot. Kindness has nothing to do with it. I respect hard work and good character. You have both. Mr. Roberts looked at Ethan. You're lucky to have her. I know, Ethan said, taking Maya's hand. Believe me, I know. They talked for over an hour. Mr. Roberts told stories about Ethan's father, about the values he'd instilled, about how proud he'd be to see his son now. Your father always said that a man's character is shown in how he treats those who can do nothing for him, Mr. Roberts told Ethan. You've honored his memory by choosing someone who saw you, not your title. He would have loved Maya. Ethan's eyes glistened with tears. Thank you. That means everything. As they left the coffee shop, Maya felt something settle inside her. She wasn't just Ethan's girlfriend. She was being welcomed into parts of his life that mattered, being treated with respect and dignity. She was being seen as an equal. On Monday, something unexpected happened. Maya was cleaning the 10th floor when she heard familiar laughter. She looked up to see Elaine stepping out of the elevator with another man, some executive from a different company. Maya's stomach clenched. She considered hiding, running, anything to avoid another confrontation. But then she remembered what her Aunt Patricia had said about being brave, about not letting other people's opinions control her life. So Maya stood her ground. Elaine saw her and stopped. Her perfect smile faltered for just a moment. Oh, Elaine said, her voice icy. You're still here. I work here, Maya said calmly. Where else would I be? I assumed you and Ethan would have fallen apart by now. These little romances never last. The man beside Elaine looked uncomfortable. Elaine, maybe we should... I'm just being honest. Elaine turned back to Maya. You can play dress-up all you want, but you'll never truly be one of us. You'll always be the cleaning lady. Maya felt the old hurt trying to surface. The shame, the feeling of being less than. But then she thought about Ethan scrubbing floors beside her, about Mr. Roberts calling her Miss Johnson with genuine respect, about Carla's fierce loyalty and her aunt's wisdom. She thought about her mother, who'd spent her last days wishing she'd been braver, and Maya realized something important. Elaine was right. She would always be the cleaning lady, but that wasn't an insult. It was the truth, a truth she didn't need to hide from or be ashamed of. You're right, Maya said, surprising both Elaine and herself. I am a cleaning lady. I work hard. I take pride in what I do, and I'm not ashamed of it. Elaine blinked, caught off guard. But you know what else I am? Maya continued, her voice growing stronger. I'm the woman Ethan loves, the woman he chose, not because of my money or my connections or my status, but because of who I am as a person. Can you say the same? Elaine's face flushed red. How dare you? I'm done being intimidated by you. You're mean and shallow, and honestly, I feel sorry for you. Maya picked up her cleaning supplies. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have real work to do. Have a nice day. She walked away with her head held high, leaving Elaine speechless. As soon as Maya rounded the corner, she leaned against the wall, her heart pounding. She couldn't believe she'd just done that. Stood up to Elaine, defended herself. Her phone buzzed. A text from Ethan. Can you come to my office? I have something to ask you. Maya's stomach fluttered nervously. On my way. She took the elevator to the executive floor. Ethan's assistant smiled at her warmly and waved her through. Ethan's office was exactly what she'd expected. Floor-to-ceiling windows, modern furniture, expensive art on the walls. But Ethan was sitting on the floor. What are you doing down there? Maya asked, confused. He patted the space beside him, trying to see the world from a different angle. Join me? Maya sat down on the plush carpet beside him. From this perspective, the office looked completely different, less intimidating, more human. I've been thinking, Ethan said, about us, about the future. Maya's heart raced. Okay, I don't want you to ever feel like you have to change for me, or for my world. You're perfect exactly as you are. He turned to face her. But I also don't want my job to be a wall between us. What are you saying? I'm saying I want us to be partners, real partners. I want to introduce you to people not as my girlfriend who works in housekeeping, but as Maya, the woman I love. Period. No qualifiers, no explanations. Tears filled Maya's eyes. That's all I ever wanted. To just be me, to be enough as me. You are enough, you're more than enough. He took her hand. I want to walk through this building with you. Hold your hand. Show everyone that I'm proud to be with you. Even if people talk, let them talk. Their opinions don't matter. Only ours do. Maya leaned her head on his shoulder. I just stood up to Elaine. Ethan pulled back to look at her. You what? So Maya told him about the encounter, about how she'd defended herself, about how she'd finally accepted who she was instead of feeling ashamed. "I'm so proud of you," Ethan said, his voice thick with emotion. "That took real courage." "I learned from the best." She smiled at him. "You put on a janitor uniform and scrubbed floors in front of your entire company. If that's not courage, I don't know what is. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. I'd do anything for you." They sat together on the floor of his fancy office, holding hands and dreaming about their future, a future where they were equals, where love mattered more than status, where two people from different worlds built a new world together. 2 weeks later, Maya walked into the building for her shift and noticed something different. People were smiling at her, not pitying smiles or gossipy smiles, real, genuine smiles. "Morning, Maya," said the receptionist. "Good morning," Maya replied, surprised. As she walked through the lobby, more people greeted her. Some she recognized, some she didn't, but they all treated her with respect. Carla caught up with her at the elevators. "Have you noticed the smiles?" "More than that. People are talking about you differently, about how brave you are, how real." Carla grinned. "You've become kind of a legend around here." "That's ridiculous." "It's true. You stood up to Elaine. You stood by Ethan even when it was hard. You didn't try to become someone you're not." Carla hugged her. "You showed everyone that you don't have to be rich or powerful to be valuable. That's powerful, Maya." Maya felt tears prickling her eyes. "I just tried to be myself, and that was enough. That was always enough." That afternoon, Ethan found Maya in the break room, but he wasn't alone. Mr. Roberts was with him. "Maya," Mr. Roberts said formally, "do you have a moment?" "Of course." They sat down at one of the tables. Maya's hands felt clammy. Had she done something wrong? "I want to discuss something with you," Mr. Roberts began. "Ethan and I have been talking about the housekeeping department, about improvements we could make, better equipment, better pay, better benefits." Maya's eyes widened. "Really? Really? And we'd like your input. You know this job better than anyone. You know what's needed." Mr. Roberts slid a folder across the table. "We're also creating a new position, housekeeping operations consultant, someone who can bridge the gap between management and staff, someone who understands both sides." "That sounds amazing," Maya said. "Who are you considering for the position?" Ethan and Mr. Roberts exchanged a look. "You," Ethan said softly. "We want it to be you." Maya stared at them. "Me? You're respected by your peers. You work hard. You understand the needs of the department. And most importantly, you care." Mr. Roberts smiled. "The position comes with a significant pay increase and an office on the 8th floor. You'd still be part of the housekeeping team, but you'd also have a voice in company decisions that affect them." Maya couldn't speak. Her throat felt tight. Her eyes stung with tears. "You don't have to decide right now," Ethan said quickly. "Think about it. Talk to Carla. Talk to your family. But know that we believe in you. The whole leadership team does." Maya swallowed hard. "Can I ask a question?" "Of course," Mr. Roberts said. "Is this because of Ethan, because we're dating? I don't want special treatment." "This is because you've earned it," Mr. Roberts said firmly. Ethan removed himself from the discussion entirely. "This was decided by the board based on your work record and reputation. Your relationship with Ethan had nothing to do with it." Ethan nodded. "I promise. This is about you and your abilities. Nothing else." Maya looked down at the folder, her mind spinning. A consultant position, an office, a voice, recognition for her work. It wasn't about status. It was about respect. "I'll think about it," she finally said. "And thank you, both of you. This means more than you know." After they left, Maya sat alone in the break room staring at the folder. Her phone buzzed. A text from Aunt Patricia. "How's my brave girl doing?" Maya smiled and typed back, "Learning to believe in herself, finally." That weekend, Ethan took Maya to a quiet park by the river. The fall leaves were just starting to turn, painting the trees in shades of gold and red. They walked hand in hand along the path, talking about everything and nothing. "I have something to tell you," Maya said. "I accepted the consultant position." Ethan stopped walking and turned to her with a huge smile. "Really? That's wonderful. I was scared at first, worried about what people would think, but then I realized something." She looked up at him. "I've spent so long being invisible that I forgot how to let myself be seen. But you taught me that being seen isn't something to fear. It's something to embrace." "You taught me something too," Ethan said softly. "You taught me that real love isn't about what someone can do for you. It's about who they are when everything else is stripped away. When I was pretending to be a janitor, You saw me. The real me. That's a gift I'll never take for granted. They continued walking, their fingers intertwined. Do you remember the first day we met? Maya asked. When you couldn't figure out the vacuum cleaner? Ethan laughed. How could I forget? I thought I was going to be stuck there forever. I almost didn't help you. I almost just walked by. What made you stop? You look so lost, so genuine, like you really needed help. Maya squeezed his hand. I'm glad I stopped. I'm glad I helped you, even though it led to heartbreak and confusion and the scariest moments of my life. Would you do it again? If you could go back, knowing everything that would happen? Maya thought about it, about the lies and the truth, about Elaine's cruelty and the charity event disaster, about the gossip and the pain and the fear. But she also thought about the laughter in the rain, the coffee dates, the way Ethan looked at her like she was the most important person in the world, the love they'd built through honesty and vulnerability. Yes, she said firmly, I'd do it all again, every single moment, because it led me to you, the real you. Ethan stopped walking and cupped her face in his hands. I love you, Maya Johnson. I love your strength and your kindness and your courage. I love the way you make me want to be better. I love that you see me, really see me, and choose me anyway. I love you too, Ethan Carter, all of you. The CEO and the janitor and everything in between. They kissed under the golden leaves, the river flowing peacefully beside them. When they pulled apart, Ethan rested his forehead against hers. I have one more question, he said softly. What's that? Will you walk through the building with me on Monday? Hand in hand, no hiding, no apologizing, just us. Maya's heart swelled. This was what she'd wanted, what she'd been afraid to ask for, to be seen with him, to be acknowledged, to be an equal. Yes, she whispered, I'd be honored. Monday morning arrived bright and clear. Maya dressed carefully, not in her cleaning uniform, though she'd still be doing some of that work, but in slacks and a nice blouse, professional but comfortable, the outfit of someone who belonged. She met Ethan in the lobby at 8 o'clock. He was in his suit, looking every inch the CEO. But when he saw her, his whole face lit up with that smile she loved so much. Ready? He asked, offering his hand. Ready. They walked through the building together, through the lobby, past the elevators, down the long hallways. Ethan's hand was warm and steady in hers. People stared. Of course they did. But the stares felt different now, less judgmental, more curious. Some people smiled. Some nodded in greeting. On the executive floor, they passed several board members. Mr. Roberts gave them a warm nod. Even the executives who'd gossiped before seemed to accept them now. They stopped at Maya's new office on the 8th floor. It was small but bright, with a window overlooking the city. What do you think? Ethan asked. It's perfect. Maya turned to him. All of this is perfect. Not quite perfect yet, he said mysteriously. What do you mean? Ethan pulled a small box from his pocket. Maya's heart stopped. Ethan, relax, he said with a laugh. It's not what you think. Not yet, anyway. We are taking this slow, remember. He opened the box to reveal a delicate silver necklace with a small pendant. The pendant was engraved with 2 words, Be brave. Oh, Maya breathed. It's beautiful. Your Aunt Patricia said your mom's biggest regret was not being brave enough. I want you to remember that you are brave, every single day. You've shown me what real courage looks like. He took the necklace out and clasped it around her neck. Wear this and remember that you're exactly who you're supposed to be. Tears streamed down Maya's face. Thank you for everything, for seeing me, for loving me, for being patient with me. Thank you for giving me a second chance, for teaching me what real love looks like. He wiped away her tears gently. We're going to be okay, you know that? I know. They heard footsteps and turned to see Carla standing in the doorway, grinning from ear to ear. Sorry to interrupt, Carla said, but I had to see the new office, and maybe steal my best friend for lunch later? Absolutely, Maya said, pulling Carla into a hug. I couldn't have done any of this without you. That's what best friends are for, supporting each other, believing in each other. Carla looked at Ethan. Take care of her, CEO man. Always, Ethan promised. After Carla left, Ethan had to go to a meeting. He kissed Maya softly before leaving. I'll see you at lunch, he asked. It's a date. Alone in her new office, Maya sat at her desk and looked out the window. The city sparkled in the morning sun. So many people down there, living their lives, chasing their dreams. She thought about her mother, about how proud she'd be to see Maya now, taking chances, being brave, opening her heart to love even when it was scary. She thought about the journey that had led her here, from invisible cleaning lady to consultant, from guarded and afraid to open and in love. It hadn't been easy. There had been lies and heartbreak and moments when she'd wanted to give up, but she hadn't given up. She'd been brave. She touched the necklace at her throat and smiled. 6 months later, Maya and Ethan stood in the same park where they'd walked that fall day. But now it was spring. The trees were full of new green leaves. Flowers bloomed along the path. The air smelled fresh and full of possibility. They'd spent the last 6 months building their relationship on honesty and trust. No more secrets. No more games. Just two people choosing each other day after day. The housekeeping improvements had been implemented. Better pay, better equipment. Maya's consulting position had made a real difference, and she'd never felt more fulfilled. The gossip had died down. People got used to seeing them together, and those who didn't matter anymore. "I have something to tell you," Ethan said as they walked. "What's that?" "Remember when I said the necklace wasn't what you thought, that it wasn't a proposal yet?" Maya's heart began to race. "Yes." Ethan stopped walking and turned to face her. Then, to Maya's shock, he got down on one knee. "Maya Johnson," he said, his voice shaking with emotion. "You are the bravest, kindest, most genuine person I've ever known. You saw me when I was nobody. You loved me when I was just a janitor, and you gave me a second chance when I didn't deserve one." Tears were already streaming down Maya's face. "I don't want to spend another day without you," Ethan continued. "I want to build a life with you, a real partnership, where we're equals in every way, where your dreams matter as much as mine, where we face the world together, hand in hand." He pulled out a ring. It was simple and beautiful, exactly Maya's style. "Will you marry me?" Maya couldn't speak. She was crying too hard, smiling too wide, feeling too much all at once. "Yes," she finally managed. "Yes, yes, yes." Ethan slipped the ring onto her finger and stood up. He pulled her into his arms and kissed her like his life depended on it. When they pulled apart, they were both laughing and crying at the same time. "I fell in love with a janitor," Maya said, touching his face. "But I'm marrying the man, just the man, not the title, not the money, just you. And I finally found someone who loves me for me," Ethan said. "That's all I ever wanted. That's all I'll ever need." They stood together in the spring sunshine, holding each other close. Two people from different worlds who'd chosen to build a new world together. A world based on honesty, on respect, on the kind of love that sees past appearances to the heart underneath. Behind them, hidden behind a tree, Carla watched with happy tears in her eyes. She'd followed them to the park, suspecting something big was about to happen. She took a few photos on her phone, knowing Maya would want to remember this moment. Then she quietly slipped away, giving them their privacy. Later that day, Maya called her Aunt Patricia. "He proposed," she said, unable to keep the joy out of her voice. "Oh, baby girl." Her aunt's voice was thick with emotion. "Your mama would be so proud of you, so proud. I wish she was here to see it. She is here, in you, in your courage, in your strength." Aunt Patricia sniffed. "You took chances. You were brave. You grabbed life with both hands. That's exactly what she wanted for you." After they hung up, Maya looked at the ring on her finger. It caught the light, sparkling with promise. She thought about the journey that had brought her here, the pain and the joy, the fear and the courage, the lies that had led to truth. She'd started as a cleaning lady who felt invisible, who'd built walls around her heart to protect herself from hurt. But love had a way of breaking through walls, of making you brave, of showing you that being seen was worth the risk. Now she was engaged to a man who loved her exactly as she was, who saw her, who valued her, who treated her as an equal, and she'd found herself in the process, found her voice, found her worth, found the courage to be vulnerable and open and real. She touched the Be Brave necklace at her throat and smiled. She'd been brave, and it had changed everything. The wedding was small and intimate, just close friends and family. Nothing fancy or pretentious, just people they loved, gathered to celebrate love. Maya wore a simple white dress that made her feel beautiful. Carla was her maid of honor, crying happy tears through the whole ceremony. Ethan's voice shook as he read his vows. "I vow to see you, every day, to value your strength and your kindness, to build a life where we're partners in every way, to never let you feel invisible again." Maya's vows were just as heartfelt. "I vow to be brave, to trust you, to believe in us even when it's scary, to love you not for what you have but for who you are, just the man, always just the man." When they kissed as husband and wife, everyone cheered. At the reception, Mr. Roberts gave a toast. I've known Ethan since he was a boy. I've watched him build a company, make tough decisions, lead with integrity. But I've never seen him as happy as he is with Maya. She brings out the best in him. She reminds him what really matters. To Maya and Ethan, everyone raised their glasses. To Maya and Ethan. As the evening went on, Maya found a quiet moment to step outside. The stars were bright overhead. The air was warm and perfect. Ethan joined her, wrapping his arms around her from behind. Happy? He asked. So happy. Happier than I ever thought possible. Me too. They stood together, looking up at the stars. Do you remember what you said that first day? Ethan asked. When I couldn't figure out the vacuum, I said it was tricky. No, after that, you said everyone struggles at first, that it takes time to learn. Maya smiled. I remember. You were right. Not just about vacuums, about life, about love. He turned her to face him. We struggled, we learned, and we got here. Together. Together, Maya echoed. They kissed under the stars, husband and wife, equals in every way that mattered. And somewhere, Maya liked to think her mother was smiling, proud of the brave, strong woman her daughter had become, proud that Maya had finally learned to be seen, to be valued, to be loved exactly as she was. The cleaning lady and the CEO, the woman and the man, two hearts that had found each other in the most unexpected way and built something real, something lasting, something true, a love story for the ages, a happily ever after, earned through courage, honesty, and the willingness to be brave. The end.